Okay. And I want to first thank everyone for logging in. I know there's not very many of us, but hopefully it will be beneficial still. And I know the information that our panel members is going to give us or are going to give us will be beneficial for anyone who does take the time to listen to the video or watch the video later. I am going in and muting everybody that is not on the panel so that we don't have any feedback. So with that said, I will save all of the rest of my chattering for tomorrow morning. This is our first networking social ahead of an event that we have done since we've been with COVID. So you guys are a first for us, and we were hoping for more to log in, but we'll still make it a great evening. So Leslyn is our lever. No, you a hybrid.
I'm a hybrid.
You're the hybrid out, and I'm not even going to try to remember what county you told me, because I'm on the east side of the state and she's on the west side of the state, and I can't keep track of where everybody is. So I will let you do just a brief introduction and then just take over with the panel, and
Okay.
I will be monitoring the chats along with Alex. So
Awesome.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having this event. We're, happy to be the guinea pigs and see how this can be beneficial to our job-seeking veterans and transitioning service members, as well as Guard, Reserve members and spouses, military spouses. My name is Leslyn Jones. I am the hybrid DVOP lever out here in the western part of the state. I serve veterans in Cherokee, Clay, Graham, and Swain counties. Our western region comprises the 13 western counties of the state, so we're kind of spread out. Some of our areas are very rural, and then we have areas that are very populated, such as Buncombe County, Asheville. I am joined this evening by two of my colleagues, Ellis Pinder and Brenda Ploss. Brenda is a retired Army veteran, and she is the DVOP serving veterans in Buncombe, Henderson, Madison, and Transylvania counties. Then I have Ellis Pender, my other colleague. He is retired Marine Corps, so I would say a veteran, but he's always a Marine. So he is the DVOP who serves veterans at the VRQ, or the Veterans Restoration Quarters, in Asheville, so in Buncombe County. And then we have our fourth panel member, Dennis Jones. He is retired Air Force and an assistant principal with Swain County High School out in Bryson City. I know this guy pretty good. I'm married to him. And me being the great career advisor, I was the one that suggested he become an assistant principal. So anyway, he's a pretty good guy. I'll keep him. I wanted to give you a quick overview of NCWorks and what we do as veteran staff. So NCWorks is the state's workforce agency. So we are the employment office. Sometimes we get confused and people think we're the unemployment office. We are not. We're the employment office, and we help veterans, transitioning service members find jobs, as well as anyone can come to their local state workforce agency or American Job Center and get assistance with their job search, as well as resume writing, interviewing skills, the whole gamut. We, as JVSG staff, that's the Jobs for Veterans State Grant, that is who funds us. We work only with veterans. And a DVOP is a Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialist. A DVOP works with veterans who have some challenges or barriers to employment. There is, those things can be anything from a service-connected disability rating to homelessness, recently released from incarceration, low income, young veterans ages 18 to 24, as well as Vietnam era veterans, low income. So there are certain criteria that the veteran has to meet in order to receive the intensive services from a DVOP at their local American Job Center. The leaver, or the local veterans employment representative, we work with employers to make that match and to advocate for the hiring of veterans. So we're kind of like, we work closely with the business services team. We're kind of like a business services rep. So we advocate for the hiring of veterans. And then we've got the hybrids. I'm a hybrid. A hybrid filled both roles. So it's very nice because I can work with a veteran and provide intensive services and then go right to the employer and say, hey, I have this veteran who has these qualifications. I think that would be a great fit for your company or whatever the position is that they're looking to fill. Again, both of these, well, all three of these roles are funded by the Jobs for Veterans state grant. Here, there are approximately 2,100 American Job Centers across the United States. And each state receives the funding and provides these positions to assist veterans in their job search or transitioning service members again. So that's, I didn't want to go too much into the weeds of it, but that's what we do. Our positions, we just work with veterans. NCWorks is, again, the state's employment office. We have an online portal, ncworks.gov. And then we have specifically a veterans portal. So if you are a veteran or a transitioning service member, you can access the veterans portal, and that is veterans.ncworks.gov. I encourage all of you, if you are not familiar with NCWorks, to go in there, play around with it. You can create a profile, you can upload a resume, you can do skills assessments and search for jobs. Employers post their jobs with NCWorks. There is no cost for an employer to post their jobs with us. So I highly encourage you, if you are interested in, relocating or coming out here or looking for jobs in Western North Carolina, to register with your local NCWorks Career Center. Play around with the website so that you can become familiar with it. And then you can reach out to one of us for more information and to find out if you are eligible for intensive DVOP services. If you are not, then we'll refer you to one of our very experienced career advisors that are in our local career centers.
Well, I'm gonna step in real quick and just add a couple things.
Yes.
I do want to say, yes, please use NCWorks. And the more information you put into NCWorks, the more visible you are to those employers, because while you are searching for jobs, those employers are also searching for workers. So if you just go in and do the basics, you look about this big, but if you go in and create your entire profile, you become this big. And also, even if you don't think you have a barrier to employment that qualifies you to work with that DVOP, please just go in. They will do the initial form for you. There are barriers that you would not believe are actually considered barriers. And as she mentioned, they do have career advisors that work with everyone, including people, the veterans that do not have those barriers, and you do get priority of service with those individuals. So if there is a line or a training course that has a waiting list or anything like that, you go straight to the front of that line or straight to the top of that waiting list. So keep those things in mind as you are going to the local career centers. And as she pointed out, it is nationwide. So if you're starting with us here in North Carolina and you decide you would want to transition to Texas or Georgia or Florida or wherever, talk to your career advisor here, because they can connect you with the career advisor where you're going and make that transition a little more seamless for you. And the same, I don't think we have anybody from out of state that's on with us, but if you happen to be out of state coming to North Carolina, you can start with a career advisor where you are, and they can help you transition to a career advisor here in North Carolina. So just my 2 cents. I will shut up and let you keep going.
No, thank you, because the priority of service is one of the most important things, and I just totally on my notes here just kind of skipped over that. But yes, as Rebecca was saying, when you come into a career center, you'll be asked by the person, at the reception desk, are you a veteran or have you ever served in the military? And please identify that you have, and then we'll do the screening. But yes, you'll go to the front of the line. All veterans receive priority of service when they come into the career centers. And just like Rebecca was saying, let us make that determination whether or not you're eligible for DVOP services or not. Don't just, assume, oh, I don't have any barriers. You, like she was saying, there are several. And they might not seem like a barrier, but they do qualify you for intensive services. So having said all of that, I am going to defer to my panel and ask a series of questions to each of them. We want to give you all an idea of what Western North Carolina is like and what the advantages are of moving out here. It's beautiful out here, but we would like to share some information with you. So first, I would like to ask everyone on the panel to share what brought you to Western North Carolina. Let us know what city or county you live in and how long you've been here and what has kept you here in Western North Carolina. And we are going to start with Ellis. Ellis?
Hey. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Leslyn. I appreciate it. As Leslyn mentioned earlier, I retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years. Shortly after that, I moved to New Hanover County, which is in Wilmington, North Carolina, the coastal regions of North Carolina, where I spent 12 years as the director of veteran services for New Hanover County. In 2019, we ended up in Western North Carolina after my wife was offered a position with the Buncombe County government. So that's how we pretty much ended up here. Prior to that, I visited Asheville or the area only one other time, and that was in 2005 when I attended a conference for the agency that I was working for at the time. After driving from an elevation of about 52 feet in Jacksonville to over 2,000 feet in Asheville, I had no burning desire whatsoever to call Asheville or Western North Carolina home. Yet here I am 16 years later and loving this place. My wife and I have grown to like the area, especially the forest feeling that you get, the varying terrain, which is quite different from the coastal Wilmington area. Right now, what keeps us in the area, pretty much the short answer to that would be my wife's job. She's got certain requirements that she must meet. However, as we both approach retirement, it's certainly one of those places that's on a short list to retire. Leslie.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellis. I appreciate your insight there. Okay, so now, Dennis, what brought you to Western North Carolina, and why are you staying?
Well, I grew up in Western North Carolina. I was raised in Lester and West Asheville. That's where I joined the military from. And I knew when I retired, I wanted to come back here. I wanted to be back into the mountains of North Carolina. I wanted to head this way. And the initial plan was to actually come to Swain County, where we are now, and then use it as a stepping stone to get back up in Asheville. We've been here now for 6 years, down in the Swain County, Bryson City area. What keeps us here? We just love the place. It's funny, when we moved here, the intent, like I said, was move to Asheville. And then as I was talking to Leslie, said, hey, we should start looking for a house to buy. We can look in Hayward County. We don't look at Buncombe County, it's expensive. Maybe Henderson County, those areas close that I can transit to and from work. And she kept showing me houses in Swain County. So I got the hint and said, hey, I guess you want to stay in Swain County? She said yes. And we made some friends and built relationships, and just really love it down here. And that's why we stayed in Swain County.
Good answer. We really like it here. So next up, Brenda. Brenda, what brought you to Western North Carolina, and why have you stayed here?
Well, this was my jump off spot as well. I was an Army brat, which means that I traveled around the world on my father's coattails, going from different countries around the world. And then when my father retired, he asked my mother, where do you want to go for the next 28 and a half years? And she said, back home to Asheville. So that's how I ended my high school, was in Asheville, North Carolina, and began my foray into the military. Started off initially with the reserves while I was going through college. So I worked with the 108th Infantry Training Command, which worked out of Charlotte and Fort Benning, Georgia. And I was a tactics special skills officer there. And when I went on to active duty, went into military intelligence, and traveled around the world there as well. So why did I pick Asheville coming back? When I got out of the service, I actually was still in New England and started graduate school, started my own entrepreneurial business, and then decided I was going to move across the country to Austin, Texas. Brought me down to Asheville, North Carolina, which I always considered vacation land, coming back and seeing family and doing fun things. And what kept me here was both of my parents got ill suddenly. Luckily, they did get better, but that kept me here. And I realized, this is a wonderful work-life balance area to be. We're surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains. I lived in Asheville for 28 years and just recently moved into Henderson County, into a little town called Etowah, that is 10 short miles from the land of waterfalls, Brevard, North Carolina, where we have over 200 waterfalls in this area. It is unbelievable. I find the mountains inspirational. In the mornings, you just see the smoke mist rising in the mountains. You're surrounded by rock climbing, bike riding, restaurants, cafes, wineries, breweries, drum circles in the town square, also known as Foodtopia. It's certainly a place for food lovers. And home to the largest privately owned mansion home in the world. I mean, in the world, in our world, in the United States, and that's the Biltmore Estates. So it's just one of those wonderful places to have that work-life balance. You can find jobs on every spectrum. You have the four seasons. The fall is just absolutely wonderful. You're surrounded by orchards. Um, and so I can't say enough about the area. But that's what keeps me here is the people are warm, friendly, inviting. Um, you can walk into any business and just feel right at home. Um, so I invite you all to visit, and hopefully you'll make this your home as well.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I appreciate that. So those are the reasons why we are here, what brought us here, why we stay. Basically, in a nutshell, it's beautiful out here. So moving on to our next question. This is for Brenda. Brenda, can you share with us some of the resources that are available to veterans here in Western North Carolina?
Sure. Let's see, one of the bigger things that immediately comes to someone's mind when they move to an area is maybe the medical system. And we have one of the best VA medical centers in the nation. It's #1 in customer service and care, which is so important to a veteran. They want to be invited in and take comfort in their care. And I believe they jostle between 3rd and 5th place as far as the best medical center in the VA system. And I myself go there. There's NC Serves Western, and that is America Serves. It's where you can come in and actually put in that you're a veteran and you're looking for legal services, homes, employment, whatever is an issue that you have. And they will actually give you a plethora of services that are in our area that can assist you in that vein. So we work hand in hand with them every day as a Veterans Career Advisor. The Veteran Restoration Quarters that Ellis works out of is a homeless restoration center. We also have Transformation Village, which works with families that are homeless and helps them get back on their feet, helps them with employment and training. And then, of course, in Leslie's area, the Franklin VA Clinic is what they call a CBOC. And so it's a smaller scale of the VA Medical Center, but we have that in the Western area and more of the rural areas. So that's the connection. And they are adding more and more services every time we turn around. I think one of the new things is some of the mental health. They're going to be doing an eye and ear clinic soon. So constantly expanding the services. Going back to the VA Medical Center that is in Asheville, it serves parts of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, I believe as well. And they have an interesting thing that they have just, or kind of a pilot with whole health, where they brought that to the forefront and looking at different ways to work with veterans, their families, and caregivers to assist them with working through some of the medical issues that may come and present as a barrier. So I invite everybody to take advantage of those services. We also have a wide range of the military service organizations: American Legion, American Veterans, Disabled American Veterans, Korean War veterans. A lot of the counties will have a veteran service officer that serves there. So if you have any questions about that, let us know and we'll certainly connect you. I serve on some of the county veteran councils as both the employment and a chaplain. So I am lucky to work with all areas of a veteran and their families, and have most recently been more involved with the caregiving portion of that. So if you have any questions of that area, I can assist you with that as well, as most of my colleagues. So thank you.
Brenda is awesome when it comes to resources. She knows just about everything that is available to us in the area. I know if I'm ever stumped for something, I know that I can reach out to Brenda and she can go, oh, hey, put them in touch with, this organization, this individual. So yes, a wealth of information and knowledge. So thank you for sharing, Brenda.
Thank you.
Up next, the next question that we have is for Ellis. Ellis, can you share some of the recreational activities that are available to us here in Western North Carolina?
Absolutely. When it comes to Western North Carolina, there's really no end to the outdoor adventure options. The climate in Western North Carolina obviously keeps our community quite active. As Brenda mentioned, each of our 4 seasons opens doors for new activities. Western North Carolina area boasts 8 national and state parks, all within short driving distance of each other. They also boast 6 of the highest peaks in eastern U.S. as a whole. So 6 of those highest peaks in the U.S. are located here in Western North Carolina. The Western North Carolina mountains over the years have gained a national reputation for being one of the top mountain climbing areas in the country. Brenda also mentioned the over 200 waterfalls that we have in the area. We have 4 navigable rivers. So whether you're into fishing, if you're into canoeing, kayaking, or just simply a lazy float down the French Broad River, Western North Carolina has an area pond, an area river, an area lake to satisfy your recreational activity. We also boast numerous mountain and bike riding trails. If you're a beginner, there's a trail for you. If you're an advanced rider, there's also a trail for you in Western North Carolina. We have hundreds of trails throughout the region that offer a diverse range for hiking or backpacking opportunities. And again, no matter what your skill level is at the time, there is a trail for you in the area. If you want to continue your military experience at one of the area's many campgrounds, there's also facilities for you to again carry on those experiences. So when it comes to recreational activities in Western North Carolina, there's actually there's something for everyone. Leslie.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellis. We also out here in Swain County, you can hike the width of the Appalachian Trail. because it goes right through here. So there's this little spot out at the Nantahala Outdoor Center, which is in Swain County, and you can actually, take your picture next to this sign that says that, you hiked the width of it. So it's obviously not very big, but it's a draw. So yes, lots of things to do out here. Thank you for sharing all of that, Ellis. I appreciate it. Our next question is for Dennis. Dennis, you're an assistant principal at Swain County High School here in Bryson City. Can you share a little bit of information about the school system? Let me say, none of us, well, Brenda, myself, we don't have any children in the local school systems, but we do have Dennis, who I said is an assistant principal and went to school in Buncombe County. So if you can share a little bit of information about that, Dennis, and let us know, maybe touch on how your transition from the military into education, how that went for you.
So the school system, we're a small school system here. We've got one high school, one middle school, 2 elementary schools, and a pre-K. So we're a very rural area, so we deal a lot with generational poverty, which impacts quite a few things. Our school score came out a while back, and we were rated as a C school, and that kind of took me back a little bit, because in our small school, we offer so many opportunities for kids to succeed. We've got numerous AP classes. We have dual enrollment with Southwestern Community College. Athletics is flourishing, doing well. We offer all of them: wrestling, football, basketball, volleyball, cross country, track. And in fact, our girls track just won the 1A state championship this year. So as far as our little school system, we have a lot to offer. And what I'll say there, talking about the C piece, is I may be getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. When you move into the area, don't take what's on the internet for gospel of the school systems. Get out and engage the school system and find out what they offer. Because just because we're a C, we have many kids that are very successful. They go on to Stanford, Harvard. Sorry about the chicken in the background, the rooster in the background. Harvard, Stanford, University of North Carolina, Duke. We've had kids be successful in all those different schools from this small little school that we have. As far as my transition from the military to education, it wasn't a bad transition, because initially I transitioned into junior ROTC. So I was still wearing a uniform every day. We had an Air Force junior ROTC program here at Swain County. Transitioned there. I worked with a fellow military member, retired as well. So that piece was having somebody to bounce things off of as you transition to that civilian life and lose some of that understanding about hierarchy, and that there is a chain of command, and you respect the chain of command. The civilians don't always see that piece of it. So that transition was somewhat, I think, easy for me, having that piece. But then I realized that it was time to hang up the uniform. Some things, were making me a little bitter towards the Air Force. So I didn't want to end my career that way with the Air Force. So the assistant principal job come open. And I think the leadership things I learned as a senior NCO in the military were very beneficial to my transition to the assistant principal role. It's like being a senior NCO in the military. You're not the top of the food chain. However, you're that person that, has connections with the commander, if you will, the principal, but you're also taking care of the troops, the teachers and the students, and you're that go-between. You got your fingers wrapped in the students and teachers and kind of feeling what's going on with them. And you can relate that to the principal to make for a solid working team. It's a great fit for me personally. I love it. I love what I do. I had to do some additional education, and that was kind of a pain in the hind end, but it was, with the arm twisting at home and the punch in the back of the head, we got through it. And, as my wife will say, this meathead got a master's degree. But anyway, it's been a good transition, and I've truly enjoyed it. And I'll read again that if you're transitioning, don't take for gospel what's on the internet. Go and engage your schools and find out what they offer, and meet your administration and meet the people there, because I think you might find more than what you get on the internet. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Dennis. And that was pretty good with the rooster crowing in the background. You didn't miss a beat, so I'm impressed. We have a little 5-acre hobby farm we live in Bryson City, so we have chickens, and we really enjoy it out here. What we were able to get when we first bought the farm 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, what we were able to get for what we paid, we got a lot more here in Swain County than we could have had we gone closer to Asheville and Buncombe County. But we really like the small town, quiet area. Swain County, Bryson City is a complete tourist town. And that's what sustains us. And that's what a lot of the employment is here in Western North Carolina. It's centered around tourism and service industry. But we also have a lot of manufacturing jobs that are available out here. So if you're looking to find a job, relocate, come out here to Western North Carolina, reach out to one of the career centers. You can reach out to myself, Ellis, Brenda, and we can give you an idea of what the labor market is like in the specific area that you're looking to move to or relocate to. We are most familiar with the different counties that we represent. So we encourage you to reach out to us. In the chat, Brenda put her contact information. I'll ask Ellis to include his in the chat, and I will put mine in the chat as well, so that should you have any questions or would like to reach out to one of us, you can do so. So our last question that I would like to ask everyone, just real quick, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone thinking of moving or relocating out here, what would that piece of advice be? Ellis, we'll start with you.
I'm sorry about that. I had to unmute myself. I know this might be too militant, but after 20 years in the military, it's kind of hard to get away from. And my wife and I, we still truly live by this. For us, relocating, we have a tendency to view it as a mission or some type of execution of a plan or execution of orders. And with that comes the development of an alternate plan in the event that your relocation, your move, if things for some reason doesn't work out the way you envision them working out, then you have a backup plan to fall back on. Whether it's returning to where you came from, a place to stay where you came from, or if it's someone close by, family, friends, that you can stay with in the event that something falls through with the relocation, with the new job. So for us, again, we strongly recommend that you have an alternate plan. It doesn't have to be a 5-paragraph order, but just kind of keep something in mind, for those reasons.
I think that is great advice, Ellis. Brenda, what would be your piece of advice?
Definitely make sure you have a budget plan in place. Look at the housing market. Look at if you're planning on Asheville, start looking at 20 miles outside of Asheville, 40 miles, 60 miles. What does it look like? What does the landscape look like? But definitely having a budget in place and sticking to it. That's one of the paramount things that I always say. Do your homework. Go into NCWorks and do that labor market investigation of the 25 top employers in each of the areas. You can do that. You can click on each of the employers and find out what their mission and core values are and see if they jive with what you want out of life. That's all going to lay that foundation for that success in life. And we've already told you about the wonderful life balance. So then you would have that sweet work-life balance. But definitely look at that budget plan, stick to it. It's going to help guide you. But I love what Ellis said about having that alternate plan, knowing who's around you to support you, very big. And just to let you know, we have a wonderfully huge veteran support network across the whole state of North Carolina, but particularly here in Western North Carolina. I worked from Morganton, which is Burke County, all the way west. And I can't say enough about all the love and support that you find within those veteran service organizations. So never feel like you're alone. Always remember you can reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I have a saying, hope is not a plan. So make sure you have a plan of attack as well as a contingency and backup, like Ellis was saying. So Dennis, your piece of advice, I don't know if you're going to reiterate, what you said earlier about local school systems. What would you like to share?
Sure, thank you for saying that. Yeah, check your local school systems, but I'm going to piggyback off of some things they said. Housing, for example, here in Bryson. I mean, finding affordable housing is really tough. We truly got lucky finding this place, and when we did, and being able to buy. But it is a tourist area, so a lot of people will buy land, build a house, and turn it into a rental cabin. Property taxes are extremely low here, so generational land, they hold on to it because it doesn't cost them a lot to hold on to that land, and they can sell it for an astronomical price. So be sure that you're aware of what the housing market looks like wherever you're going. And like Ellis said, have a plan. You plan to fail, or you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So engage your school systems. I'll keep tooting out horn because I'm an educator now. And really get out there and engage the people before you maybe go there on vacation, before you actually go, and start engaging the local area and see what it's truly about. But have that plan, and it'll work out well for you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So that that finishes up for us, and the things that we wanted to highlight. Resources that are available to veterans, recreational opportunities and adventures that you can do out here in Western North Carolina, and then what the school systems are like. And then they each gave you a piece of advice. Have a plan, do your homework, do your research. Don't go into it blind. So if there's anyone that has any questions, Rebecca has been monitoring the chat. I don't know if there are any questions.
So far, we have not had any come through. If you do have questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask away. Also, I will say the panel members are going to hang out in Zoom with us for 5 or 10 minutes. So if you have any questions that you want to talk to one of them one-on-one on, we can put you in a breakout room once we have started the actual networking time.
Awesome, thank you. Well, that wraps it up for us, as I said, and as Rebecca said, we will hang out for a little while. And then Rebecca, I think if there are any attendees that want to network with employers, can they do that?
Yep, I will take that from here. I'm going to go ahead